It's Kevin Keatsman Uncanceled on 95.7 FM KCMO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. I'm your host, Kevin Keatsman, in for the next hour, leading to the Vince Show at 11 o'clock. Great Monday in the morning again today. I hope you've enjoyed it. All kinds of great information. I think my favorite part of Monday in the morning is the number of people that Pete talks to off the air and the things that he knows from the inside and can share. And I know people don't want to go on the record or whatever, but he's just one of those guys. If he says something is going on, you better take it to the bank. Pete is plugged in for sure. Good stuff. Coming up in a little while, I don't know. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know how Adam Schiff gets out of his trouble. We know he's got the mortgage trouble with the state of Maryland. He's got big trouble now with the FBI and Congress. If we're looking for ground zero for orange jumpsuits, if that's our goal, to try to find somebody that may get cuffed and hauled off, I think Adam Schiff might be at the top of the list. However, he strikes me as the guy that will pee his pants, crumble in a corner, and say, I'll tell you anything you want, just don't take me away. I'll rat out anybody. He strikes me as that guy. Adam Schiff in big trouble. Mark Cuban supporting President Trump and bashing AOC, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, and Pocahontas. I don't know what's going on in this world, but it's upside down. We'll get to it all on Uncanceled today. And, of course, we check in with Mark a little bit later. We're going to talk about Salvador Perez, who did it again. My favorite Royal. Until he's not here, Salvador Perez is my favorite Royal, no doubt. We start with a different lead today than you'll hear in most places on News Talk Radio or politics. But as you know, we named this show Uncanceled for a reason. In 2008, I believe Barack Obama created a climate. Really before that, it started during his campaign. He started a climate of division in America and an elitist attitude on the left that the media gobbled up, and everybody got in line with Obama because you couldn't criticize Obama. Remember, he had two Republicans run against him that couldn't criticize him. If you criticized him, you would be painted a racist, which at the time was horrible. Now it's just like dead noise to everybody. You're a racist. Oh, you're home. And it just bounces off you because it's just been overplayed. But if we remember back 15 years or more, longer, 16, 17 years, you remember how impactful that was and what we endured for over a decade in a cancel culture in America where everyone that said anything was toast. There was zero tolerance for free speech in this country. It didn't matter what you said. My controversy on radio was telling the truth about Andy Reid having his son coaching on his football team, who shouldn't have been there. That was that's truthful. It was not even a hot take or a strong opinion. And everybody's head exploded that you can't make comments like that. You can't say things like that out loud because we lived in an America where there was no free speech. Donald Trump came along and changed that. Dave Chappelle followed in order. When Dave Chappelle, the comedian, got in trouble with transgenders all over the country because he said, I don't even understand what this is. I don't understand transgender. I just don't. And he made jokes about him. And they tried to cancel Dave Chappelle. And then he came back with another Netflix special. They paid him twice as much. They're like, we don't care. Everybody's watching Dave Chappelle. We're going to pay him money because we're running a business here. The floodgates opened. The comedians were the first. They just started saying outrageous things. Unbelievable things that you never thought people would be able to say again. And it was funny. And we're a little more lighthearted now. And I think as a culture and as a country, we're more open to free speech. Certainly people on the right have not been disagreeable to this. We've respected lunatics who stand on a street corner in Johnson County demonstrating that they hated an ICE raid at a Mexican restaurant that wasn't ICE agents, nor was it a raid. Nobody was deported or sent to Alligator Alcatraz. They got it all wrong, but that's okay. They have a right to stand there and be stupid and say whatever they want. We allow that. As conservatives, we accept the fact that there's going to be millions and millions and millions of really stupid people in this country. That's going to happen. They're going to not know what they're talking about. They're going to say ridiculously stupid things. And a lot of times they're going to get away with it based on what their sexual orientation is, what their skin color is, what their religion is. It doesn't matter. But to prove how free speech has changed, there's also a negative to all this. There's not a tidal wave, but certainly there's a little ripple in the water of people that feel perfectly okay and protected to run around and hate Jews in this country and support terrorists and Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. They're okay with that, and we're allowing that. It's free speech. I'm not sure why, because some of these people might not be citizens. I think if you're committing hate speech against Jewish people and you're not a citizen, you ought to be out of here and can never come back. That's me. I've got harder stances on some things. But we're seeing all this turn around. I was really surprised this week because Bill Maher, the comedian on HBO, said that he still worries every day about being canceled. He made some unfortunate comments before cancel culture and got canceled, but it was really pretty bad. It was unsavory stuff he said about 9/11. And when he did it, ABC fired him. He had a show on ABC, and they fired him. That was 2002, right after 9/11. Not really cancel culture, but he's worried about it could happen again. I mean, if Bill Maher should be worried, I should be terrified. Bill Maher is not going to get canceled. He may get to a point where people don't watch his show or don't like it anymore, and then his show is no longer there. But personally, he's not going to get canceled. And I think he knows that, and I think he welcomes that. And I welcome Bill Maher to the team of free speech warriors because I think he is. Most comedians are. But there's a case that caught my eye yesterday in Nevada. A legal challenge. And this one is huge. This could be the final nail in the coffin of cancel culture. It's a former football coach that you may know named John Gruden. He was coach of the Raiders. He was the first $100 million coach in the NFL. Before that, he had a long time ago won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, but spent many years as a broadcaster at ESPN. John Gruden was fired when the NFL exposed his emails to an executive with the Washington Commanders over the years because they were investigating the Commanders for sexual misconduct. So let me try to say that a little more plainly and clearly for you. Gruden was coaching the Raiders. It had nothing to do with him. The NFL's investigating the Washington Commanders because they got a sex scandal in their building and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. And as they're investigating, they found a couple of emails from Gruden and they leaked them, just like Adam Schiff leaked stuff against Trump. The NFL had no right to leak that stuff on John Gruden. One of them was an email back and forth with an executive with the Commanders about the NFLPA chairman, president, DeMaurice Smith. And apparently there was some sort of a racist trope. They don't say it was the N-word. Nobody really says what it is. I don't know that anybody's seen the email. Here's the problem. When the email was sent, it was 2011. John Gruden did not work for the NFL. He was an outsider emailing a guy inside the NFL that he knew. He was working for ESPN, not the National Football League. The NFL charter says Roger Goodell has complete and utter control over any NFL employee to fire them for cause at any point if he thinks they're hurting the league. So 7 years later, when these emails are exposed, or longer than that, 8 years later, when they're exposed, he's with the Raiders and Goodell decides he's going to fire him. Then when Gruden sued Roger Goodell and the NFL, separate suits, that was after Gruden was an employee. So they busted him for something he did not as an employee, and he sued them after he was an employee. And the Nevada Supreme Court decided yesterday 5-2, they called it unconscionable what the NFL did to John Gruden. Now, I'm not here to make some sort of an argument that you want to let your kids be babysat by John Gruden. I'm not here to tell you that he doesn't have some racism in him. I don't know the man well. I enjoyed him as a commentator. I thought he was good for the NFL. He's doing great stuff with, I think it's Barstool right now, where he does these boxes of uniforms and it's all over social media. I think he's a likable guy. I think if he was hanging out in a restaurant, I'd probably enjoy having dinner with him. If he said something offensive, I'd get up and leave. I don't think he's the problem with the NFL. I think there's a lot of people out there doing a lot worse things than John Gruden. And this radio host is sitting in this chair every day rooting for John Gruden to beat the NFL. A buddy that I respect a great deal immediately texted me last night on this story and said the NFL will settle. And I said, they've got a plaintiff that doesn't want to settle. John Gruden has a lot of money. This isn't about money. This is about you owe me a full apology. You canceled me for no reason and had no right to do this. And the case was brought in Nevada because he was the coach in Las Vegas. And the Supreme Court of Nevada now says, they basically said you can't go to arbitration. This is a public case. Gruden wants all the files public. He wants everything with the Washington Commanders investigation. He wants to open this up to the NFL for the entire world to see all of the shenanigans in the NFL, and nobody would know that better than John Gruden. So paying him money would be a good thing for the NFL to do, but what they're really going to have to do is they're going to have to kiss his butt in a giant way. If they want this to go away now, they're going to have to kiss it. But guess what you think the NFL will do next? I think they're going to appeal to the Supreme Court. And then they're really rolling the dice. I don't see any way the Supreme Court would see it different than the Nevada Supreme Court. I can't even imagine. This is one great lawsuit, and it is, for me, it's as a free speech guy and a believer in the Constitution and our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and our rights and all of those things, this is a big one. It doesn't sound like it. It's a football coach against the NFL, but this is a big one. Can you take a guy who wasn't your employee, did something when he wasn't your employee, and after he's in your employee, he sues you? Does your charter, your Constitution in the NFL, still give you the right to do all this to John Gruden? Because clearly they were not investigating him. They could have kept his part so private. If you don't think this was with malice and they wanted him out of the league for whatever reason, they did. He didn't have anything to do with the investigation. Why would they have leaked John Gruden's emails to the media and allowed that out to ruin his life? Why would anybody do that? Oh, it's in the evidence. Gruden's lawyers say the plaintiff admits for 8 years he emailed people around the NFL back and forth saying really, really, really crappy things about Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the league. Like he thought Goodell was a bozo, a clown show, a loser, all the things you'd hear Trump say about anybody. Gruden was putting it in emails about Roger Goodell. And that's what this came down to. That he was tired of Gruden running around to everybody in the league telling him what a clown Goodell was. And he fired him, and now Goodell has a personal lawsuit against him, and the National Football League has a lawsuit. I wonder what the other owners think of the determination of the Supreme Court in Nevada yesterday, 5-2 in favor of John Gruden. Again, I'm not vouching for his character or him as a person or anything. That was bad what they did to him. You wouldn't do that to your worst enemy, leak that crap to the media. It's exactly what the Democrats do to Trump. It is no different. I'm rooting for John Gruden. 913-408-7957. If you'd like to join the conversation, give me a call right now. We'll get you right on. This is Uncanceled on KCMO Talk Radio. Hit us up if you'd like to be on the show. 913-408-7957 is the number to call. We start with Mark in Montana listening on the stream. How you doing, Mark?
Good, Kevin. How are you today? It's beautiful. I'm in Big Sky Country.
Big Sky Country. I've got my in-laws my sister-in-law and her husband live in Livingston. How far are you from Livingston, Montana?
I just left there this morning visiting a buddy from college that lives up there. I spent a couple days there. It's gorgeous.
There is no better place in the summer than there. They love it in the winter, too. I'm not that fond of it in the winter, but boy, summers in Livingston are fun.
I tell you, it's gorgeous up here. But loving the show, been listening this summer as I've been streaming around. But you touched my favorite part of the NFL draft is always when they boo Goodell. But when you were talking about Obama, how no one could criticize, I just remember that poor rodeo clown down in Missouri who wore the mask. All he did was wear an Obama mask, and his career was over. He was like a rodeo clown Hall of Fame guy. I always wondered what happened to him.
Right, because they call it racist when he did it, and people do this stuff with Trump all the time, and they've done it for presidents forever, but all of a sudden we had one that you couldn't make fun of. Everybody makes fun of the president. We've done it our whole life. That's part of being American. You can make jokes about him. You can wear Halloween costumes. You can do all kinds of things about the president. The president is not protected from what we think, say, or do about him unless it's a violent crime or something like that. But Obama came along, untouchable. Couldn't do it.
Yeah, and I believe that's when comedy died.
Yeah, well, it's being reborn right now.
Amen, brother.
All right. Say hi to all our friends in Montana. You're coming back to KC soon, huh?
Eventually. I'll be back September 3rd. I'm going to go up through the Pacific Northwest for a little bit.
All right. Have you been to the Grand Tetons?
I have. I've been through there. I was there last weekend. Gorgeous.
Just spectacular. If you're across the lake, Lake Jackson from those, and the wind's not blowing. That water looks like ice. It's just beautiful in the summer. What a great place.
It's been a magnificent trip. I've been
good for you.
Cruising my little RV for a couple weeks.
Well, we appreciate you listening while you're gone.
Love the show.
Thank you, buddy.
Keep it going.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Mark in Montana, really good stuff. I do greatly appreciate that. I just don't, this court ruling for Gruden is a terrific one. They said that the arbitration clause in the NFL Constitution and bylaws, quote, does not apply to Gruden as a former employee and is unconscionable. And they voted 5-2 in favor of Gruden. So, good. It's just about free speech and protection. And if he's not an employee and it'd be like, I'd send my personal email account and I email Mark at Cumulus. I don't work there, but then later I work here and they fire me from an email that I sent to Mark when I didn't work here. What? What? I don't even understand the concept of some of these things. But we see it play over and over and over all the time, and they're coming undone, which I think is just absolutely fantastic. All right, the Democrats are running around screaming about D.C. being federalized, which really puts them in a bad spot because they're arguing for more crime. When the crime stats in D.C. come down, and they will, they'll have no defense of the fact that they didn't support this. This is unbelievable. They're claiming that crime is down 34% in Washington, D.C. The FBI disagrees vehemently on that. That is according to Washington, D.C. But in 2024, did you know they eliminated any felony or aggravated assault charges from their crime blotters? So they didn't count. Those were up 12% in 2024 and up 37% from 2022. So felony assaults and aggravated assaults were going through the roof. Through the roof. They're up 37% in 2 years. They were going through the roof. So D.C. said, we're not going to count those arrests. When we do our crime stats, we're going to take out all the assault, which is what the Big Balls thing was, right? That was an assault case. He got assaulted. So that one wouldn't count. Big Balls getting bloodied all over the street wouldn't count. So they took out all the felony or aggravated assault charges and eliminated them. Well, of course their crime was going to be down if they took all those out. You can't believe anything they say. It has gotten so bad. You cannot believe one single thing that they say. Their defense is, well, crime is down 34%. Well, of course, you took assault out. Between 23, you counted assaults. In 24, you didn't count them. Well, I would hope your crime rate went down. It's just ridiculous. I mentioned this to Mark, and I forgot to mention it on the show, and I think this is a really important part of Trump's news conference yesterday. If you ever saw the shot of the press briefing room from behind, a wide shot of the room, and Trump made a comment, we've busted every fire code that ever existed. There's more people in here than should be. You're taking your life in your own hands. He's making jokes about it. It was packed with people. Why do you think that is? Why did all those people care to get into that room yesterday when they normally don't pack into that room like that? They all live there. Every woman in that room yesterday with Trump has been scared walking down the street. They can't hide that. When they showed up and asked questions, by the time this thing was over, liberal reporters are cracking jokes with Donald Trump about making the room bigger, and they like the guy. I'm telling you, some of these liberal reporters actually like Donald Trump. They're like, he gives us great copy every day. He gives us all kinds of, cool stories. He's nice to us. He's open. He tells us everything. He's winning them over. What he's really winning them over on is living in Washington, D.C., because the people in the media and operatives in D.C. do not like the way it is out on the streets. I can promise you that. That's why they were paying so much attention to it. The critics are outside D.C. Uncanceled continues on KCMO. So I'm just a plain-spoken guy. I've never taken any law classes or anything like that, but I'm not sure I know how Adam Schiff's going to get out of this one. The mortgage problem he's got in Maryland is a mess. It's an absolute mess. You cannot claim that you have two main residences on a mortgage application. He claimed his 900-square-foot apartment, or maybe less than that, in California was his main residence, but then he claimed in Maryland that his residence there that he was getting a mortgage on was his main residence, where he and his big family lived. 4,000 square feet or something. They all live in this big house. Clearly, that was his main residence. But you've claimed both of them are. If your main residence is in Maryland, you can't be a congressman and then a senator from California. It doesn't work like that. So he's in trouble on the mortgage fraud, but I'm not going to spend any time on that today. We've heard that story. We know what Maryland's probably going to do. The FBI is going to look into it. There's going to be a lot of people looking into this. Adam Schiff has set himself up. I mean, you would think everything that he did over the last decade to get Donald Trump, that this would be the single squeakiest clean politician in the history of politics. But he's not. Because we knew by watching him he was not. We knew by his lies he was not. We knew by the way he acted and how nervous he would get and how shifty Schiff he'd get. We knew he was not. A Democrat whistleblower told the FBI that Adam Schiff approved leaking classified information in order to discredit President Donald Trump in his first term, according to newly released documents. These documents were obtained by Just the News. They were recently handed over to Congress by FBI Director Kash Patel. The whistleblower worked for the Democrats in the House Intel Committee for over 10 years. Now, that doesn't mean they're a politician. It's be an assistant, a staffer. It could be a lot of different things, but you're in the Intel meetings. And reported Schiff's alleged behavior to the FBI in 2017. So let's cut to the chase. Trump goes into office in January of 17. 3 or 4 weeks later, there's a big meeting with Democrats, and Adam Schiff gathers them up and says, here's some information, Russia. We're going to leak all this stuff as the Intel Committee members to the media. They will gobble it up. And according to the report, the intelligence staffer said the leaking was treasonous and illegal and unethical. He went straight to the FBI with the information, and they did nothing. This Democrat staffer was most recently interviewed by the FBI in 2023 while Joe Biden was president. And again, nothing. The staffer said he personally attended a meeting where Schiff greenlit all the leaks. Quote, when working in this capacity, John Doe, we'll just put his name in there, was called to an all-staff meeting by Schiff. The government documents state, per Just the News, in this meeting, Schiff stated the group would leak classified information which was derogatory to the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Schiff stated the information would be used to indict President Trump. The whistleblower stated this would be illegal in the meeting. Upon hearing his concerns, unnamed members of the meeting reassured they would not be caught leaking classified information. So the whistleblower spoke up in the meeting and said, you can't do this, that's illegal. And when this person expressed the concern in the meeting, unnamed members of the meeting reassured the staffer and said, we're not going to leak classified information. So they admitted to this person, we're going to make crap up. We're not going to leak stuff that's classified. We're going to make things up about Trump to get him indicted. We're going to leak it to the media. This is in classified meetings with an Intel committee. This is what your Intel committee is doing in Washington, D.C. when Adam Schiff was in there. I mean, I've been looking at John Brennan thinking maybe he's ground zero. He's going to be the guy that's the center of all this stuff, and they really go after him. I think he might be the baddest person of all of them. But my God, Adam Schiff, you're in a really bad spot. Kash Patel has all this information and documentation from these FBI reports that they buried and sat on. They did nothing. They did nothing. They didn't tell the president. Nobody at the FBI thought, well, okay, we got this whistleblower over here that says the Democrats are doing this to Donald Trump, and you never tell anybody at the White House that somebody's come forward? No Republicans got a chance to see it? The FBI just buries it and protects Adam Schiff and all the Democrats? First of all, I believe every word of that. I believe that's exactly what happened. I don't doubt it for a second. We've watched it play out. This is who they are. It's what they are. I don't doubt any of it. How does Adam Schiff get out of all this? I don't know. I think the guy's in a world of trouble personally. 913-408-7957. If you have an opinion, I'd love to hear it. Stephen's in Kansas City on KCMO Talk Radio. Hi, Stephen.
Hey, Kevin. I really enjoyed your monologue on Washington, D.C. the other day. This is like, we need to savor these moments. We need to extend this as long as possible, when we're all old and gray and in John Knox Village, we'll think about the time that Trump cleaned up Washington D.C. in 2 weeks and made it great again. This is going to be a beacon to other communities, that maybe have a Republican governor. This may be a lot more important than we realize right now. This issue. But I'm fascinated by they've changed the game. Basically, we've changed the Republican Party. We've identified every single 80, 20, 90, 10 issue, and are just turning it right back on them.
Well, it's easy because they will always go against Trump. The issue doesn't matter; they go against Trump.
Yeah, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals. They will always take the bait. My question is,
well, they're arguing against law and order in D.C. right now. They're literally making the case for less law and order.
Yeah, but that's what Eleanor Holmes Norton was doing yesterday. Who is it? Trump that is driving the strategy? Is it Stephen Miller? I mean, it's incredible. He's got incredible instincts in terms of Gestalt, in terms of what's going to happen, what might be a hot button issue. I mean, I'm just in awe, frankly. I'm in awe.
I agree. But here's the deal. Somebody told him, he obviously learned at some point, because I don't think he probably even knew this when he was president the first time, that he could take over D.C. He might be plotting the last 4 years thinking, when I get in there, I'm going to take it over. Because you know what he really wants? He wants the law and order. I know that. That's the easy part. You know what the man really wants to do? He wants it to be a showplace. This guy likes big, bold, gaudy, gold marble things. He wants to redo the streets. He wants marble everywhere. He wants gold street lights. He wants to Washington, D.C., the district is not very big. He wants to transform how it looks, how it feels, everything, and he's going to do it. He has 3.5 years. It's not just cleaning up the crime. It's the graffiti. It's the Black Lives Matters murals. It's all these things. He's going to beautify D.C. He wants the people from all over the world, America 250, to come to D.C. and see it and go, wow, look at this place.
That's why I love the monologue, because people will see this throughout the country and throughout the world, and a little light will go off in their head and saying, well, why is my Democratic mayor doing such a terrible job?
Exactly. Pete said that last hour. He was exactly right. Thanks for the call, Stephen. Oh. He's exactly right. He said, look, if this works and it happens in Kansas City, maybe it changes the way people in Kansas City, Missouri vote. Yes, because most of the people that are voting for Democrats in Kansas City, Missouri want a safer Kansas City, Missouri. It just maybe hasn't occurred to them that voting the other way might be the avenue to that. Here's James in Overland Park on Talk Radio KCMO. Hi, James.
Hey, just a reminder that anyone knowingly spreading false information to unseat a sitting president has either committed treason or sedition or both.
Right.
Now, just to think about that, how many in the press knew that this information was false?
Okay, I'm not sure I can go that far. I agree with where you're headed, that it's possible they knew. But remember, these were anonymous sources. They would have known the person on the Intel committee that told them, but they could never reveal the source. And if somebody sitting on the Intel committee, your reporter, tells you something, you're going to believe it. I'm not sure the reporters were in on this one. I think they got told stuff and just took the ball and ran with it.
Okay, but remember when CNN got leaked that report early on in Trump's presidency?
Yeah. Yep.
They all knew. I don't think there's any doubt that these people knew what they were saying.
There may have been people at CNN that knew, but they had hundreds of people working there. They did not all know. There might have been one or two.
The whole company's going to get lit up, but there's a whole bunch of them that deserve to be.
I'm not arguing with you that there may have been people in on it, but I don't know that, that would be great if it led to that and we found that and those people were complicit and knew they were putting out something that was completely and utterly false, that they were being lied to. Like if they came forward and said, I had a conversation with this representative that was on the Intel committee and he said, hey, this is fake, but run with it. That's a whole different deal. I'm all for going after the media. I'm not trying to protect the media. But the real thing we have to do here is get our butts off the Epstein crap and all the other sideshows and focus on doing some sort of preventative medicine on Democrats. If you can't find a way to deter them from committing crimes to win elections or knock a president out that is sitting in the White House, We've got a real problem. This party needs to be taught a lesson. And the only way to do that is to lock some people up. I don't believe it's going to be Obama. I don't think it's going to be Hillary Clinton. I don't think it's going that high, but it might be Adam Schiff. And if it's Adam Schiff, guess what? It's going to be a long time before some Democrat is sitting in a meeting with 25 people saying, let's make crap up about the president and try to indict him.
Well, there's a whole nother angle on election fraud that's coming, and that's going to light a whole group of people up as well. So
let's do it.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
I'm with you, man. Great call. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Here is Kevin in Overland Park. Hi, Kevin. You're on KCMO Talk Radio.
Hey, Kevin. Hey, I agree with you. It's time to lock some of these people up. And I was thinking the same thing, that Brennan would be the first, but with what's going on with Schiff, it definitely looks that way too. And I'm fine with that. I just hope we don't lean in this far and then come up with a bag, empty bag that they don't, for whatever reason, they don't arrest them, they don't indict them, they don't whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, you've leaned in this far with it, you've got to go all the way. You've got to get someone in bracelets and prove the point that, this has got to end.
Well, okay, I'm going to make a big boy comment, so you got to be an adult to handle this, okay? And I'm warning the entire audience right now. I'm about to say something that may be unsettling to you. But I've analyzed this. Is it Brennan or is it Schiff? And I said earlier, Adam Schiff strikes me as the guy that would just wet his pants if he got in trouble and would squeal like a pig to give anybody else up above him. Okay?
I would agree.
Brennan strikes me as the kind of guy that would put a gun in his mouth.
Yes, I would agree with that too.
So that's an awful thing to say. I recognize it sounds terrible, but that's two completely different personalities. I think you want to go after the guy that's going to squeal first.
Yes, I totally agree. He's a bit more low-hanging fruit and definitely less backbone, where Brennan would go to the grave and not say a word.
Yeah, the grave, sooner or later to the grave, in my opinion. So these are seedy folks, man. Some crazy stuff happened.
I totally agree.
Yep.
I totally agree with you, man.
Thanks, Kev. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. Yep.
It's unbelievable. I mean, this stuff that's going on and what they're unearthing and finding. And apparently, we've heard Dan Bongino say that they found stashes of paperwork in an office somewhere in the FBI headquarters that apparently they forgot to clean out or forgot they were there, and that's where they're finding a lot of this stuff. How do you leave behind records that you had a whistleblower a few weeks into Trump's first presidency telling you that in an Intel committee meeting with Democrats only, Adam Schiff was cooking up a plan to indict the president by making up information and leaking it to the media? How does that sit in a room? And 8 years later, it's there. Of all the things, how did they not destroy that and get that out? These people are truly remarkable at how incompetent they are at much of what they do. Uncanceled continues on KCMO Talk Radio. Okay, we can't have everything completely positive in the news. I got a couple of little things here to toss. Well, this is positive. I don't know E.J. Antoni, but they mentioned last hour. He's a contributor and been a guest on Monday in the Morning with the Heritage Foundation. He's now the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which I think sounds like the easiest job in D.C. Just like once a month, you put some stats out, right? Some people compile some stats. You work them over a little bit, make them look a little better for the president that hired you, and you put them out there. Nobody's ever going to question you because they've been wrong forever anyway. That's easy. And Billy Long, who I've only met a couple of times, is out as the IRS commissioner. The shortest tenure since 1862. Come on, Billy. You didn't just get out as the IRS commissioner. He made you ambassador to Iceland.
I kind of like that gig. I like the Iceland gig better, at least personally for me.
Iceland?
I've always wanted to go to Iceland. I don't know.
You have to live there. The ambassadors have a residence there.
Yeah, it might not be bad. I don't know.
Really? Beginning when? Beginning in August? Is that when it gets down to like 8 degrees?
I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
Iceland?
Iceland isn't as bad as Greenland. Sometimes people get those confused.
Iceland's not as cold as Greenland. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds colder.
It sounds colder because it's Iceland, but there's nicer spots to it. It's a nice island.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Iceland. Now, I don't even want to get into Billy Long and whether he should be the ambassador to Iceland. I like Billy Long. Trump likes him. They just had to find something for him to do, and clearly the IRS was. How about this? Here's the best thing on Billy Long's resume. He's being replaced by Scott Bessent. Is there anybody sharper than that guy? Scott Bessent right now is taking over in the interim as the IRS commissioner, so there you go. Salvi hit his 21st home run last night. Mark Van Sickle. Did you see the list of catchers that have had seasons of 21 home runs or more?
Can't be very many.
There are not. Johnny Bench and Mike Piazza had 11 seasons. These are catchers with 21 home runs or more. Then it's Salvador Perez and Yogi Berra with 9.
He's making the Hall of Fame.
Holy smokes.
Easy.
He's a lock for the Hall of Fame. He needs 6 more this year to reach 300, which would be quite a moment in September. If he gets there, I think he can do that. There's 43 games left. The Royals need to go 11 games over 500 the rest of the way. In 43 games, that's 27 and 16. If they go 27 and 16, they will be 10 games over, and that can get you in the playoffs. But you better plan on getting 10 games over. Right now, they're 1 game under.
They need to go 8-2 on this homestand.
Be a start, but then they'd only be 4 games over.
Yeah. It'll get him in the hunt.
It gets him in the hunt. It puts him in position to make another run and get there. But Salvi's just a treasure. We don't treasure him enough, probably, in this city. He's just absolutely the best. Did you see the Greg Gutfeld episode with Jimmy Fallon?
No, I heard about it, though.
Fallon's ratings week over week that night were up 39%. Guess why they had Gutfeld on? We're going to see if there's a hidden audience that won't even give us a chance because they think we hate Trump. They have Gutfeld on, and they find the entire hidden audience. If The Tonight Show could get a third of those people to watch and increase their ratings by 10 or 12%, they'd make zillions off this thing. Colbert's going away. Fallon's not very political. He wants people to come on and be funny or sing or play games. I think it's going to work. I think the Tonight Show is going to come out a big winner here. Have you ever watched it? Do you watch? I know it's late, but
I used to like Fallon. I haven't watched it in a while, but I used to like it.
I think he would be the guy. Jimmy Kimmel, total opposite. He did a podcast with his crazy wife. Said he has Italian citizenship now. He's got an exit ramp.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He got Italian citizenship because of Trump.
Rosy.
He says, the worst we could have possibly imagined this would be under Trump, quote, it's so much worse than that, unquote. This is too fun. The Vince Show's coming up next on KCMO Talk Radio.